Rahu transits to its next nakshatra of Ashwini, and this activates perhaps one of the most karmic times of our life. That's what I talk about today. Hello everybody, I'm Tina Chaudhary. Welcome to my channel and a very warm namaste.
Aham Brahmasmi.
So my regular viewers are probably a little confused about my background because I normally film outdoors, but California has had the weirdest weather. It's been cold and damp, so I was unable to film outdoors. I kept waiting for the weather to change, and hence this video is also late. Rahu has already transited. I normally make my videos very early and I kept waiting for the weather to change, but it didn't. So I finally got tired of it and I'm now filming indoors in my house. So I'm sorry if you don't like the background, but I just couldn't wait any longer. So let's talk about the transit of Rahu. So Rahu has already transited into the nakshatra of Ashwini. Now, if you take the true node transit, that happened on February 6th. If you take the mean node transit, that will happen or has happened on February 20th. So it goes into the nakshatra of Ashwini. Now, Ashwini is located in the zodiac sign of Aries. So Rahu came into Aries last year, April 11, 2022. Now, both Rahu and Ketu, they stay in the same zodiac for 18 months. So each zodiac sign has about 2.5 to 3 nakshatras contained within it. So when Rahu first came into Aries last year in April, it came into the nakshatra of Kritika. And then it came into the nakshatra of Bharani, and Bharani is ruled by Venus. So this is where it was just recently. And from Bharani, it is now transited into Ashwini. And the reason these nakshatra transits are very important is because obviously they change the results that these nodes or the Rahu Ketu will give us. And the change depends on the nakshatra that they're transiting in. And this is true for all planets, all the slow-moving planets. It's true for them. So Jupiter and Saturn, even though they stay in the same zodiac sign for an extended period of time, their impact and the effect that they give us also changes depending upon the nakshatra that they're traveling in. So for the slow-moving planets, we always have to keep an eye on when they change their nakshatra, not just when they change the zodiac. Now, it's going to be a very strange karmic time for us because both Rahu and Ketu are considered karmic planets. Now, I know they're not planets. They're just virtual points in the sky. So they're virtual planets. Just let's call them virtual planets. They're actually points in the sky. They're shadows of the moon, if you want to call them that. So they're shadows of the moon. Rahu is considered the north shadow of the moon, called the north node, and Ketu is considered the south shadow of the moon, so it's called south node. So we can either call them the nodes, we call them north node, south node, we call them Rahu Ketu. So now Rahu is going to give us its result, or the impact of Rahu is going to be through the planet Ketu, because it's in the nakshatra ruled by Ketu. Now there's a very strange coincidence, or I could just call it destiny, that in the next few months are going to be extremely karmic. Now, why is that? Because of several reasons, and that the reasons are all based on the planetary positions that are going to align up in the sky over the next few months. So let's go through those. So like I said, the first thing is that Rahu moves into a nakshatra ruled by Ketu. And at the same time, Ketu is already transiting in the nakshatra called Swati, and Swati is ruled by Rahu. So the first thing we already see is Rahu transiting in a nakshatra owned by Ketu, Ketu transiting in a nakshatra owned by Rahu. So they're going to give results of each other. And then on March 14th, Saturn is going to move into its next nakshatra of Satvishak. And Satvishak is also owned by, you will not believe it, Rahu. Okay? And here comes another planet, which is also a slow-moving planet, which is Jupiter. Now, Jupiter is transiting in the sign of Pisces right now, but then it moves into Aries in April, and then on April 21st, it also moves into the the nakshatra of Ashwini, again ruled by Ketu. So there's going to be a period of 2 months between April and the end of June, sort of July, where the 4 slow-moving planets, which is Jupiter and Saturn, and then Rahu Ketu, which I'm going to call planets, okay? for now. So the slow moving planets, Jupiter, Saturn, Rahu, Ketu, are all going to be ruled by either Rahu, or are going to be in the nakshatra of Rahu or Ketu. So two of them are going to be in the nakshatra of Rahu and two of them are going to be in the nakshatra of Ketu. So predominantly, we're going to get results based on the Rahu and Ketu placements in our birth charts. So the whole world we're going to see is get the results of all this karmic control or virtual planets. Now, why do I call these two planets karmic control planets, or why is it such a karmic time? Rahu and Ketu are considered in Vedic astrology to be connected to our past life experiences, and hence they come and they sit in these strategic points in our birth chart. So Rahu and Ketu are almost always opposite of each other. Wherever Rahu is placed in our birth chart is considered life experiences that we were deprived of in a previous lifetime, where we didn't get enough of. And hence, in this lifetime, we become obsessed with that. We want to chase that all the time, and that's our obsessive tendency towards it. We're always focused on achieving that. Wherever Ketu is placed in our birth chart in this lifetime is things or past life experiences where we've had enough of, or we've had too much of in a past life, and hence we become a little disassociated or detached from it, and we tend not to focus on it so much because we've enjoyed so much of it in a prior lifetime. Hence, these are considered the karmic control planets. So let's take a look at this nakshatra Ashwini and the significations of it and what this transit could mean for all of us. So Ashwa means horse, and so this nakshatra is signified by twin horses called the Ashwini Kumars, and these were considered the children or the twins of the planet Sun and his wife Sangya. So they represent, they're considered the divine healers. So they were the physicians to the gods. So they represent health, healing, medicine, and sciences. Now they also, because they are horses, and generally horses represent transport, travel, speed. So they also represent all these things. So they definitely represent good health and speed, as well as transportation, things moving at a fast speed, and means of travel, all kinds of travel. So in today's day and age, they would mean air travel, they would mean sea travel, they would mean definitely road travel because they're horses, right? So now they're in the sign of Aries. So Aries is the first zodiac of all the 12 zodiacs. So Aries represents the start of new things, the new beginnings. And Aries, because it's the first sign, also rules our head and our thinking pattern. And Rahu is also the head of the demon. So Rahu also deals with our thinking pattern, our obsessions, what we want, or how we think through things, or how we're influenced by the things that we see, and our obsessions or obsessive patterns or our thinking patterns. So both Aries and Rahu kind of don't denote sometimes the same things. Not exactly, but they both denote thoughts that go through our mind. Because they both denote the head. And you also understand that all the senses that a human body has are all in the head. So Rahu has all the senses, and Ketu, which is the south node, has no senses. It's just the physical body. So Rahu denotes all the 5 senses that a human body has. So when you put all these 3 things together, which is Ashwini, which is the healing, the fast-moving energy, which is the healing of the gods, and then you put together the Aries, which is start of new beginnings. Then you put Aries, which is also the thinking pattern on our head, and Rahu, which is also the head. Everything comes down to the head and the way we think through things. So it always the same signification keeps coming up when you put all these 3 things together. So definitely this is a time which is going to be very powerful as far as our mind is concerned, as far as our thought pattern is concerned. This is a time where most of us are going to have quick thoughts that run through our head, thoughts that deal with starting of new things, new ideas, where a lot of us are thinking of, why don't I do this? Why don't I start this? So things relating to new things relating to new events, things relating to new relationships, new money ideas, new business ideas, just about anything, newness. So these thoughts are going to start running through our head as soon as all these things are put together, where the transit of Rahu, where it's Aries, and also the fact that it's in Ashwini. So we're going to start getting a lot of good bursts of energy and healing, because that's definitely denoted by Ashwini. We're going to feel energetic. We're going to feel healthy. We're going to feel like we want to do new things. We're also going to feel like we need to start new things. And these new things could relate to absolutely anything. But a lot of people are going to be wanting to do new things in business and career. Why did I say that? The reason I'm saying that is because Saturn is going to be aspecting Rahu the entire time that Rahu is in Aries. So Saturn is in Aquarius, and Aquarius deals with desires, wish fulfillment, gains, and it's aspecting Rahu. And it's also for some time Saturn is going to be in the nakshatra of Satbishak, which is Rahu. So Saturn is also going to be enhancing this impact of, let me start something new, let me do new things in my career, let me do new things in my profession, in my business, because I want more gain, I want to fulfill my desires. So all these aspects of this transit are going to become very important for all of us. Most of us are going to focus on our achievements. What new things can we do to achieve more things? What can we do to achieve our desires, our goals, our aspirations? And all these thoughts are going to run wild in our head. The person that's going to succeed is the one that actually takes action. Because Rahu is more about thoughts running through our head, less about taking action. So the secret to mastering this transit is going to be for the people that take action on the thoughts that go through their head. Obviously, you have to make sure that they're good thoughts and they're good ideas, as opposed to running through 100 million things and trying everything that comes through your head. The key to mastering this transit is to actually think through things very carefully, think of what's a good idea, and to take action. Rahu's not the planet that makes you take action. Rahu's the planet that just makes you run after things by thinking through it. And Saturn's going to aspect it and say, here, you could do this in your career, you could do this in your profession. Why don't you do this? Why don't you start that? And so we're going to go through these things, but we're not going to take action. And so this is going to be the downfall of this transit, is where we're all thinking of 100 ways to do things. And a lot of us may not actually take action. So I'm telling you, this is my guidance to all of you, is it's a very potent time where you can come up with brilliant ideas on how to master your career, your profession, or other goals and aspirations as well. They don't have to be career related. They could just be on your destiny path. What do you want to acquire on your destiny path, or related to your relationship? Don't forget, Ketu is sitting in Libra. As far as your relationships are concerned, what do you want to achieve? But taking action is going to be critical. So this is what Rahu and Ketu are going to do at this time. It's a very potent, very karmic time. Above all, you have to understand one thing. Above all, it has the power to suddenly transform you and put you on a path of a new destiny. So take full advantage of it. Think of all the great ideas you're having and make sure you put them in action as long as they're good. So definitely my guidance would be to, filter through all these ideas, new thoughts that come through your head to start something new. Make sure you use good judgment, and then you take action to start whatever you think is feasible. Now, who is going to be most impacted by this? The ones that has the most impact is if you have planets in Aries, or if you have planets in Ashwini in your natal birth chart, then this transit is obviously going to be a little more pronounced. The impact is going to be enhanced for all those people. Now, there's one more aspect that I want to just bring out, and not trying to confuse everybody. But Ashwini Nakshatra is the first of the 27 nakshatras. So for most planets, it would be considered the start of a karmic cycle. But because Rahu and Ketu move backwards, they move in a retrograde motion. For Rahu, it's the completion of a karmic cycle. It's the last nakshatra because, they move in a retrograde motion. So for Rahu, it's the last nakshatra. So what Rahu is going to do, the impact of Rahu going into what is normally the first nakshatra, but for Rahu being the last nakshatra, is that Rahu is going to ask that before you begin something new, you end something that is not working for you, or it may end it itself. So Rahu's impact on all of us may be that sudden endings, sudden closing out of things, change to the status quo. And these could be sudden because Rahu, Ketu are known for suddenness, things unexpected that you didn't think of. So Rahu is also going to impact, and Ketu, both are going to impact changes in our life that may end suddenly. So when you need to think through things that are may not working for you in your destiny, in your life cycle, where you're thinking, these things don't work for me anymore. So it could be a job that doesn't work for you. It could be a relationship that doesn't work for you. It could be where you stay. You could have a change of environment in your home. So this also signifies the end of certain things. So this ending could be voluntary. It could also be involuntary. So Rahu, Ketu, very famous for suddenly doing something that we didn't expect. So, but definitely because for Rahu, Ashwini is the last nakshatra in the series as opposed to the first, Rahu is going to ask that, something end in your destiny path before your new destiny starts. So be prepared also for the flip side of Rahu being in Ashwini, which is the ending of a comfort zone. Something that you're very comfortable with could suddenly end as well. And like I mentioned, this nakshatra is a positive nakshatra, so it's going to give us these thoughts of new ideas, new solutions, creativity, and things that we can do. But there's a negative connotation also because of the fact that it's Rahu that's in this nakshatra. And so some of the things that we need to watch for is aggression, over aggression, also inflation of our ego, where we're super confident and we get egoistic and we begin to tell others off. And, so we need to manage our ego and aggression as well at this. So what are some of the mundane results for the world that we can expect for this transit? Because it is such an important and significant transit. Well, the number one thing that we can expect is because this does relate to health and healing, and Saturn is going to go into the nakshatra of Satpishak later in March, and Satpishak does relate to the 100 physicians. So definitely good strides in new development, new medicine, new cures related to some diseases, medicines, and new technology coming out related to health and healing. So a lot of good news we can expect as far as healing, medicine, cures is concerned during this transit. The other thing is that because Ashwini does relate to transport, travel of all kinds, and Rahu does relate to the space exploration. So we can expect some new IT technology that comes out related to transportation systems, as well as space related technology that comes out. Some good news related to space technology, space travel can be expected during this time, especially both those Ashwini and Rahu this is just a match made in heaven that can happen. So a lot of good IT platforms can come out now related to travel, all kinds of travel, air travel, road travel, so we can expect to see some good technology come out as a result of that. Now, in the middle of the transit, we can also expect some glitches that happen in the transport system, in the travel system. It could be related to planes, it could be related to ground, but I really think that there will be some glitches during that middle part of May, June, July, sort of, where there could be some glitches in that as well. But new IT platforms, new IT solutions and IT development can happen in the travel and transport industry, especially, like I said, space travel also. On the negative side, there could be a stress or tension, and there could be creation of like warlike situations with the world. And this only happens when the Guru Chandal Yoga is formed, when Jupiter moves into Ashwini along with Rahu. Now, I will probably make a video on that at that time, but because I'm talking about the Rahu transit, I'm mentioning it. So there could be some challenging situations as related to conflict within countries in the world is concerned after late April, but mostly May, June, July is when that may occur. At the same time, there could be some natural disasters also that may occur at that time, and also man-made disasters, accidents that can happen during that time. The Guru Chandal Yoga transit, which is Jupiter moving into Ashwini along with conjunction with Rahu, is not a good time for the world. When I made my yearly predictions, I had mentioned that briefly, but I did say I will make a video on that when that happens. So we'll talk about that in a little more detail at that time. I'm just mentioning it and putting it out there that this is not a favorable time for certain things. One of the other things that people always ask me this, so I'm going to mention it, that there's going to be extreme volatility in the financial markets, and we can expect some sort of a stock market correction, as well as correction in real estate prices as well, especially towards the later part of the transit. So for those people that's all I can say at this time. So those are just the basic mundane predictions for worldwide that we can expect. I am going to try and do some predictions for the ascendants, just because people are always insisting on ascendant-wise predictions. It's a little challenging to do predictions for ascendants when you have two non-planets that are involved in this. But I will definitely do just quick ascendant-wise cautions related to this transit, so stay tuned for that. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe to my channel. Also, if you like the video, please do share it with friends and family. And one more note, I did put out a very interesting video just my last video on the numerology related to your date of birth, related to your career and profession. And it's gotten amazing results. I've gotten amazing comments related to that. So if you haven't watched it, make sure you watch it. I'll put a link on that in my description column. So it tells you your best career, best profession related to your date of birth. So for people that don't have their birth charts, it's a wonderful video to watch. It's wonderful for anybody to watch, but make sure you do watch it and give me your comments on that as well. But I will now move on to just a couple of line predictions based on the ascendant. Aries Rahu is transiting in your own ascendant sign. So this means your mind, your physical bodies. It's time where you're going to be very obsessed about your physical body and how you look. Or also you may start working on your body and doing, physical workout and trying to change it, so that there's an obsession about your body. Also, the mind is going to be where you're going to be bombarded with new ideas, new things of how you want to do things. And so, like I said before in my guidance, that, think through things before you do it. Don't act impulsively. Aries normally does get very impulsive. So make sure you think through these ideas. If you want to start something new, it's a wonderful time to do that. Just make sure you filter through these ideas before you start something new, and then, you're not doing so well. So make sure you filter through these ideas, new things to start, some new solutions, and avoid aggression over competitiveness, and also this attitude of I don't care about others, because this is what Rahu in Ashwini is going to make you do. So yes, you're going to be self-obsessed, self-focused on your body, your mind, your own ideas, but your tendency to not think about others may also be there. So watch that tendency. And if you want to really achieve something, because Saturn is in your 11th house, it's doing great things for you as far as ambitions and accomplishing your goals, desires is concerned. You want to take on something, it's a good time for that. Just make sure you filter through all these hundreds of ideas that come through your head right now, and your focus is going to be great, your energy is going to be great. So filter through all these great ideas, take action where as soon as you think it's a good idea. Don't just keep thinking through a million things. Take good action, and definitely take care of others. Just make sure you don't ignore the feelings and emotions of others. Make sure you give importance to other people in your life as well. It's not all about yourself, it's also about other people. So make sure you give the importance where it's due, and make sure you act on the good ideas that come through your head at this time. Taurus, Rahu is in your 12th house. So this 12th house is where it's the house of expenses. It's also the house of foreign things, foreign travel. So the obsession may be about how can I spend and invest so I can get more money back. So the tendency will be more to, I can do more. I can invest more things. I can invest more money. I can spend more money. And what can I get in return? So this is the tendency that needs to be managed at this time. Rahu is definitely going to make you spend more, and with the expectation that you'll get something in return. It could be a new relationship. It could be more returns on your business. So it might want to make you spend more money. If you own a business, it might want to make you spend or invest more money. You might want to be itching to buy a house. It might, these are the things that it's just going to make you want to spend on things because you think you're going to get something in return for yourself. You may get something in return, but you really need to manage through this urge to spend money on yourself or on things. Also, it's going to give you an urge to travel. Definitely the urge to travel foreign, overseas is going to be very great for the Taurus individuals at this time. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you do, just make sure you stay, clear of any deception overseas, because Rahu is master deception himself, Mr. Fraud. So make sure that when you do travel overseas, you're very careful about who you're in contact with and where you go, and you're safe at all times. So you need to take care of your safety if you do travel overseas. That's one thing. Also, like I said, you're also very interested because Ketu is in your 6th house. So this is also a time when you do need to take good care of your health. You actually may be spending a lot of money on health related things. So you may be spending money on how to improve my health, things. So you may be doing all kinds of things and spending money and time on how to improve my health, and your health may actually improve a lot this time. If you have been suffering in the past with some health related issues, now is a time when you just miraculously health improves. So enjoy that. Make sure you control your spending. Make sure you think before you spend, because Rahu kind of gives you impulsive spending. So make sure you think before you spend. And also, if you do any foreign traveling, which you may, you're very safe when you're there. Don't get extra adventurous. It might not end well. So good luck with that. Gemini, Rahu is in your 11th house. The 11th house is the house of gains, desires, material gains, friendship, social circle. So one thing is for sure, that I think the Gemini people are just going to go out and socialize and increase their social circle. One of the things you have to be very careful when you do increase your social circle and you try to socialize, add your professional circle and contacts, is to be careful about deception. Rahu is Mr. Deception himself. So be careful about who you're being friends with. If you're new friends, you may get deceived. People may just come there to be friends with you and they're not real friends. So you need to be a little cautious of that. Especially the new ones. I'm not talking about the old friends. Ashwini is all about newness. So new friends that you make sure that you kind of go slow with the friendship. Also, this is a wonderful time where you're thinking, okay, I need more investments to give me more returns, because the 11th house is all about returns. And Saturn is as aspecting it. So there's no better time for the Gemini to get good investments on their returns. The key is not to be very impulsive when you make your investment decisions or you do financial management. Make sure you're very cautious, but you can make financial decisions at this time. Make sure you stay very cautious about deception when it comes to financial management and also investment planning. So don't just fall for any new scheme that comes around, or somebody comes with something and says, hey, you could do this and you make a lot of money or whatever. Don't fall for stuff like that. Like I said, Rahu is Mr. Deception himself. So be very cautious about these get-rich-quick schemes. Or if somebody comes to you and suggests that here's a great idea on how you can make, be very cautious of that. But it is a very good time for investments. So if you do make investments, they may give good returns. So it's a good time for that. It's a good time for social circle. Just be very careful. Think twice before you do any of these activities. Don't get fooled by the people that come and try to, fool you or deceive you. Make sure that even when you do your investments or any financial planning, make sure you stay very honest in whatever it is that you do. Make sure it's very legal, ethical, and all those kind of things. So make sure you keep keep those things cool. Otherwise, it's actually a good transit for you. You might start new things too. As far as investments is concerned, you might come up with a new idea that's actually works really well for you. Make sure you think through things, but you might have some great new ideas that come through your head on how I can do better financial management, how I can do better returns on my investments and things like that. So pay attention to those, think through those carefully, filter them through your head, and if they sound, and if they pass that filter and test in your head, go for them, take action. Cancer, Rahu is in your 10th house, and the 10th house belongs to your career. So now is the time when all these ideas are going through your head about, is this the right job? What am I doing? Why can't I do this? Why can't I start this? Why can't I put this new idea, new solution at work? Why aren't people listening to me? So it's all about new ideas, new solutions at work. At the same time, Rahu is a bit of an is an aggressive planet, so you have to guard against getting too aggressive at work and trying to push your ideas on people. That may backfire, so take a very guarded approach. I'm not saying your ideas are bad or you shouldn't push them. You just need to take a better, milder approach to pushing them. So again, Rahu in the 10th house causes career changes as well, voluntary, involuntary, or whatever kind. So a lot of people may have career changes during this time. So start of a new career, like I said, Ashwini, Aries is the start of new things. So you may think of doing new things in your career as well as starting new jobs, new careers. So for Cancer, I've been saying this for a while, that most Cancers will change their jobs starting from the beginning of this year to the next 2 years. So this just makes my prediction a little bit more enhanced, that now Rahu in the 10th house for Cancer may change your profession, may start a new job, new projects, if anything, it'll just make you go to a new seat in your office. Just some change will happen at your work during this transit. So again, but one of the good things about Ashwini is that it gives you new solutions. So if you had any issues or new projects or things that you were working in at work that needed new ideas, new solutions, what a great time for that. So explore those, think through those carefully, and suggest them to whoever they need to get suggested to. Just don't get pushy and overly aggressive with it, because that's where you're going to get damaged. So again, good time for career, but also time for career change for some of you guys. Again, a good time for new ideas, new innovations, innovative ways to think, especially if you're in the field of anything to do with IT, which nowadays isn't everything to do with IT. So it's a good time for career, as long as you can manage through the changes, manage through the newness of your career and profession. Leo, Rahu is in your 9th house. The 9th house is typically associated with our spirituality, our religion, our dharma, our father, gurus. And now is the time when a lot of Leos question whether they need to be spiritual or not. Should they be spiritual? What kind of spirituality should they follow? So the focus is all on starting a new path of spirituality. A lot of Leos will be like, okay, I'm going to start doing this for spirituality. I'm going to start following this for spirituality. A lot of Leos may actually go after, start following a new guru, or a new path, or a new habits related to spirituality. A lot of you may start doing meditations. A lot of you may start doing mantras that you didn't before. So it's something new related to all these kind of things. A lot of you may even look for a guru to kind of teach you about spirituality. This is also regarding your father. So you need to manage your relationship with your father at this time. So don't get aggressive with him. At this time, you need to be cordial with him. Make sure you manage that relationship. There's no need to get aggressive with him at this time and tell him how to do things. So a lot of times, Rahu kind of tells other people, bosses them around and tells them and puts his own thinking into and makes other people want to follow their own way of thinking. So kind of leave him alone and manage that relationship with your father as well, if you're lucky enough to have him in your life. The 9th house is also a time of traveling. So you may travel, and a lot of times the 9th house is when you travel for religious purposes, or you travel to learn a new skill. So educational purposes. So a lot of Leos may travel to visit religious places for some spiritual enhancement places, or to learn a new skill set for your job. So if the opportunity arises where somebody offers you, hey, what, you want to travel and get take new courses, learn new things, by all means do that. It's going to really benefit you in the long run. So that's what the ninth house is. If you want to start a new meditation, you want to start some new mantra practice, this is a perfect, wonderful time to do it. It's really going to give you a lot of good results, Leos, if you want to do that. So that's what the ninth house is. Good luck if for the people, especially I really like doing those kind of things. So I'm wishing all of you good luck if you do want to start that. It's a wonderful way to live. It gives you so much peace in your life. So good luck. Now I do want to say the ninth house is the house of good luck as well, and destiny. So if destiny does put you on that path, consider it good luck for you. So make sure you start that good luck factor in your life. Virgo, Rahu is in your 8th house. Now, the 8th house is a house of obstacles, struggles, and also some, health issues. But now, because Ashwini gets activated, and Ashwini is the nakshatra of health and healing, a lot of the Virgos that had health issues previously may feel like they're starting to improve. They get their energy back, because Ashwini is also the nakshatra that denotes good energy, good vitality. So they may feel a lot more energetic, they may feel a lot more vitality, and they may feel like they've improved their health and they've taken on a better health regimen, and so they're feeling a lot better. So this is actually a wonderful transit for Virgos as far as their health is concerned. Also, because Ketu is still in the 2nd house, they may feel like their expenses are still high, but they may now feel like they're sort of managed. Previously, they were totally out of control, and so now they may feel like, okay, it's a little bit managed, and I can handle this. And they may actually start new projects, new things at this time. So they may start a lot of different new things may start in their lives, but it depends a lot, especially for Virgo ascendants. It depends a lot on where their Rahu and Ketu are placed in their birth chart. So what things they start are going to be dependent on where Rahu and Ketu are placed. So if Rahu and Ketu are placed next to Venus, it might be start of a new relationship. If Rahu is placed in relationship to Mars, they may have a new house or something related to their house. May start. Jupiter, it might be starting a new learning or something like that. So for Virgos, because it's in such a troubled house, it depends on the other placements of planets. But definitely good health, good healing for my Virgo ascendants. Libra, Rahu is in your 7th house in Ashwini. Now, this can mean good things, bad things, and all kinds of things, because 7th house is your marriage, it's your partnership. So for married Libras, this is actually a good thing if your relationship with your spouse was not the best. So now it's the start of a good relationship, a good new thing. Healing in the relationship is what I'm trying to say. So your relationship heals dramatically for the better. For single people, single Libras, this means that you can actually you could get married. So you can, if you were looking to get married, what a wonderful time. This can actually happen. So it's perfect time for that to happen. Now, what if you were a Libra and you had a perfect relationship? Well, then it's not going to get worse. So let's just say that, you continue to keep the focus on the partner. So sometimes Rahu tends to obsess about Rahu in the 7th house tends to obsess about the partner a lot, like constantly poking, prodding, obsessing. What are you doing? This isn't good enough. What are you doing? Why did you do that? So those kind of obsessions relate to Rahu in the 7th house. Rahu in the 7th house also tends to give you a little bit of a roving eye. So you're kind of checking out everybody else that's moving around. So those are the two things you need to control for Rahu in the 7th house. Is don't look and watch other things that are walking around. Just, pay attention to your spouse. And the other thing is, don't obsess about your spouse. So paying attention doesn't mean obsessing. So there's a difference, right? So paying attention in a positive way, don't obsess in a negative way. And also keep your eyes to yourself and your spouse and don't look outside. Now that's the key. I personally think it's a positive transit for Libras as far as their marriage relationship is concerned. So make sure you, pay good positive attention to your spouse, and good luck, because I think that a lot of the single Libras that are looking to get married might actually get committed in a serious relationship, marriage at this during this transit. Scorpio, Rahu is in your 6th house, and this is a match made in heaven because Ashwini relates to health and healing, and the 6th house relates to health and diseases and illnesses and conflicts with co-workers. So when Rahu comes into Ashwini, if Scorpio had any issues with their health previously, then all of a sudden now they get healed. Help comes from any quarter. If, especially like I said, if they had any health issues, what a wonderful time to heal. Also because the 6th house is relationship with coworkers. I think that, and if there was any disputes going on with coworkers or at work, I think this is going to be so helpful, where all of a sudden, you find resolution to that. You find resolution to your disputes. So this is a wonderful time for Scorpio people. Just make sure you stay healthy and you manage your aggression and you manage your ego with your coworkers. So sometimes Rahu does that, but if you want to find solution, if you want to find resolution with your disputes, prior disputes, then now you need to manage your ego and aggression. But this is a wonderful time as far as your health is concerned, and also disputes with the coworkers is concerned. Just manage, like I said, manage your ego and your aggression. But it's a wonderful, really wonderful time for Scorpios, I think, as far as health is concerned. Sagittarius, Rahu is in your 5th house. The 5th house is all about your children, your love life, and your creativity, and the challenges that you take on yourself. So this is about the challenges that you bring on for yourself. What do you want to be? What do you want to do? What do you want to accomplish? And so this is going to be an extreme where Rahu just makes you want to take on this great challenge. Also, as far as your children are concerned, they may do things very well with good results, things outside the box. They may accomplish things that are very different from other children, so outside the box. The challenge is going to be in the love life, because Rahu is not a great planet that supports love life. It kind of supports straying a little bit, deception, straying a little bit, roving eye. So you need to watch for that. If you want to keep your relationship intact with your love life, you need to be very faithful at this time, because you're not going to be, you may be tempted to kind of look outside, let's just say. So you need to watch that tendency, because that's Rahu tends to do that. Also, you need to be very careful about your investments, because the 5th house is also investment choices. So you need to be very careful about the investment choices that you make, because somebody may be deceiving you, or somebody may show you a picture that's really not the actual honest picture. So be careful about people that come into your life that are maybe not so honest in their approach. Also, if you're going to start a new love life, then you need to be very careful about who you're going to start a relationship with, because Rahu is associated with deceit and fraud. So I'm not saying everybody that comes into your life is going to be deceitful or fraudulent, but you just need to be watchful of that. So, whoever you start a new relationship with, just kind of take it with a pinch of salt and go slow, and make sure you check out everything before you just jump headlong into a relationship. So you need to watch for that. And also, as far as your investments are concerned, you need to be very careful, think through things before you dump all your money into somebody that comes along and says, this is such a great scheme, do it. So you need to be very watchful of that. But as far as your creativity and the challenges that you put on yourself, is a great time for that. So you're going to put great challenges for yourself, and you're going to accomplish them. And also your creativity and new ideas are going to be at a peak. So this is a good time for you to take on new creative projects, start new things. As far as creativity is concerned, you start that, it's going to have wonderful results. So, make sure you take advantage of that. Capricorn, Rahu is in your 4th house. Now the 4th house denotes our comfort zone, our mental happiness, our actual home environment. And Rahu is not the planet that supports all those kind of things. Rahu is the planet that wants everybody out of their comfort zone. So, and it disturbs your mental peace. So this transit of Rahu is going to make you a little bit mentally disturbed, worried, And also the fourth house is your mother. So you need to watch your mother's health a little bit at this time. Also, it might ask, a lot of Capricorns are going to relocate at this time. So because it wants to take you out of your comfort zone. If you don't relocate, then a lot of Capricorns might want to change the decor of their home or change things in their home environment. Rahu is sudden change. That's what it means. And the fourth house is your home. So when you put those two together, it's going to mean changes in your environment. So that's what Rahu means. There's going to be some change in your home environment that during this transit you might see. If anything, you might change your furniture around, but there's going to be change. Also, you may be, like I said, you may be worried about your mother as well. Also, it's going to give you some mental stress. Now, I'm not saying the stress is going to be valid. It's just going to be stress that you're just stressed for no reason. You're just thinking of 100 things. You're thinking of a lot of things related to everything and anything, and you just keep worrying about them. The fourth house Rahu also means that you might be tempted to buy new vehicles, new luxury items. So a lot of Capricorn people might buy new cars during this transit. So that's what the fourth house also means. Buying of real estate, buying of luxury vehicles, or any vehicles actually, and real estate transactions also. So Rahu makes you do all those kind of things when it goes into the fourth house. So for Capricorn, just kind of stay as mentally relaxed as possible. And the way to combat that is to do mantra practice. Any mantra practice, but if you follow the Hindu Sanatan faith, then doing the Om Namo Shivaya jap is the best thing. But if you follow any other faith, then, think of the Lord, think of your divine, and just kind of practice some meditation. And then that should really alleviate the mental stress that you're going through. So good luck for that. Aquarius, Rahu is in your third house. The third house relates to communication. It relates to your siblings. It also relates to all kinds of communication, oral, written, and even nowadays it relates to the IT world. So YouTube, social media, Facebook, Instagram, all those kind of things. So Aquarius, it's a good time for Aquarius because the third house also means creativity, initiatives, new beginnings. So Ashwini in the third house with Rahu is a very good time for Aquarius individuals because it means the start of new things, start of new ideas, new ways of doing old things, and just everything new related to that. So if you're in anything to do with communication, a field of communication, if you're on any social media platform, or if you are in the IT world, or if you deal with anything to do with you do writing of any kind, you're a journalist, or you do stuff like that, any kind of writing, this is the most amazing time for you. So this is a positive time for you. So make good use of it. So any new ideas that come to your mind, make sure you put them into action right away. Also, one of the things you have to do is watch your communication because Rahu tends to give nasty, for lack of a better way, nasty communication. People just say whatever they want to. So Aquarius really needs to watch the way they talk to people and the way they say things, especially on social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, or whatever. You have to be really careful what you're saying, how you're saying it, and do you really need to say it now? I mean, we just say everything we want to on social media, and then there's effect of that. So make sure that you watch your speech very carefully. Also, you need to watch your relationship with your siblings at this time. If there's a chance that if it was previously not so great, there's a chance that it can repair now. If it was going great, then there's a chance you can damage it now. So something will change as far as your relationship with your siblings is concerned. And your neighbors. I don't even know who has a relationship with neighbors anymore, but if you do, you need to be very watchful of that. So again, this is a wonderful time for Aquarius to get creative, new ideas, start new things, a burst of energy, great energy. Also, it's a time for short travels. Before I forget, it's also a wonderful time for short travels. You'll be doing lots of short travel, but also make sure that you explore all the new ideas that come through your head and, follow through on them, take action on them. Pisces, Rahu is in your second house, and the second house represents your food, your family, your finance, and the food that you eat. So one of the cautions actually for Pisces people is to watch their diet and the food that they eat. And the reason for that is that Rahu is associated with unclean things, worms, germs, those kind of things. So you have to be very watchful that the food that you're eating is healthy, it's clean, and you don't get sick from it. So then make sure you do that. The other thing you have to be very careful about is how you talk to your family members, how you communicate with them. You have to be very careful, because if you are saying the wrong things, you're not saying it correctly or whatever, the tone that you use is not appropriate, you may damage these relationships for life. Because like I said, this is a karmic time, and somebody may get so offended where they're like, I'm done. I'm done with this relationship. So you really need to be very watchful of how you deal with your family members and the way you talk to them. The other thing is your finance. So you need to be really, really cautious of who you're listening to and getting your financial advice from, because I've said that in so many ascendants now that Rahu represents fraud, deception. So somebody might come along and give you this financial advice that may not be very good advice. Now, I'm not saying anybody would do that, or a lot of people would do that. You need to be watchful of that as to who is giving you good financial advice and who is not giving you good financial advice, because the chance of somebody giving you bad advice, unethical advice, is very great. The chance of you handling your finances unethically is also great, because the second house is your finances and Rahu is sitting there. So now, even though previously you were not, because it's Ashwini and it's the start of new things, you may decide that, oh, it's okay if I can handle my finances this way. Don't do that, because this is a karmic time and Saturn is aspecting it, and you will, if you start to do something unethical with your finances, you may see the results of it immediately, almost like very shortly. So try to control the urge or the impulse to handle your finances in a not so ethical way. So again, I'm warning you guys about your food and how you handle your finances, and also how you deal with your family members. So just be really wary of that. This is and one of the other things for Pisces is that their ascendant lord Jupiter will transit into their sign, into the second house, and create a Guru Chandal yoga later in the transit as well. We'll talk about that when that happens, but also because their own ascendant lord is going to not be in a very good conjunction, so these predictions may get enhanced for the Pisces ascendant as well. So again, watch these things and make sure that you handle your own self and your own speech very pleasantly as well. This brings me to the end of my video. I hope you've enjoyed my video. If you do, please share it with friends and family. I'll see you on my next video.